Hey guys, Keaton here from TechSmart, and today we're going to be doing an unboxing and review of the Samsung Gear 2 Neo. So this is Samsung's second iteration into the smartwatch market. The Galaxy Gear was obviously the first and kind of one of those stepping stones that needed to be taken to kind of improve on the lacking capabilities of the Galaxy Gear. So how did Samsung do this year in 2014? Let's go ahead and find out. Up first, let's go and unbox the Samsung Gear 2 Neo. On the front of the box, we have some Samsung Gear 2 Neo text, and on the back we have some specifications and logos. Popping the top, we are immediately greeted with the watch, and setting that aside and digging in further to see which other contents are featured in the box, we have our charging cradle to charge the Gear 2 Neo, and we have a micro USB wall charger, which isn't just a cable, it actually does come with the wall charging mechanism, so you just slap it in your wall and you're all set to go. And then we have our basic instructions and safety guides to kind of get you introduced to the Samsung Gear 2 Neo. So let's go and move on over to the review portion of this video, and up first, let's talk about design. So taking a look at the front of the Gear 2 Neo, there's a 1.63-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 320 by 320. There's an IR blaster right at the top. And there's a home button, which is very nice, and overall the front of the watch is very elegant, it's nice looking, and it's a lot more comfortable and gives that kind of comfortable appearance to the eye, which the Samsung Galaxy Gear really didn't feature at all. On the back of the watch, there's a heart rate monitor, and that's one really big thing that is being pushed on all the devices in 2014 made by Samsung. And also there's a metal connector which is used for the charging cradle because this thing does not feature a direct micro USB input. On the band, it's texturized rubber. It features a metal clasp, which does feel a little bit better than the Galaxy Gears, but isn't one of my favorites like you would see on the Pebble Steel or original Pebble. And it just feels solid all around. And diving into specifications, it features a 1 GHz dual-core processor, 512 megabytes of RAM, a 300 mAh battery, which should last you around 2 to 4 days, depending on how much you actually use your device, 4 GB of internal storage. It is IP67 certified. Again, one of the biggest things Samsung features on all their devices. It's one of my favorite features on the Samsung Galaxy S5, and it's also running Samsung's Tizen OS, and it is not running Android. Tizen is a completely different operating system, and we'll take a look at that a little bit later. Up next is display, and this is one of the biggest things to any smartwatch because it's what you're going to be looking at 99% of the time. So again, it's a 1.63-inch Super AMOLED display with a resolution of 320 by 320, and it truly looks gorgeous. The colors are nice and bright, they're vibrant, and they just look a hell of a lot better, and they're definitely a lot more noticeable than you would see on a Pebble Steel or original Pebble where an e-paper display is featured. The touchscreen is very responsive, and that's one of the things that I kind of noticed this year, and how much more responsive the touchscreen was over the Samsung Galaxy Gears. And if you want to go ahead and look at photos, they truly do pop on this watch. So that's one of the nicest things about this smartwatch, is the fact that the display is so bright and vibrant and how it just looks good on your hand. Moving on here, it's the software, and that really is what embodies this experience, and kind of some of my favorite things on the watch are found in the software. So Samsung's Tizen OS is a lot different than the Android OS found on the Galaxy Gear, and personally I think it's a much needed overhaul, and it's actually functional, as the Galaxy Gear's software really wasn't that functional and it was truly annoying. So the interface is very easy to use, and one of my favorite parts on this watch is the fact that there's a home button featured. On the Galaxy Gear running Android OS, in order to get to the quote-unquote home menu, you had to go ahead and swipe down repeatedly, which got very annoying, and it was just a massive pain because say you just wanted to go to the home menu to go and check out the camera app, you had to just constantly swipe down, and it really didn't become a part of my life at all. And that's just one of the things I'm very happy Samsung adapted on. So one of the biggest downsides to any Samsung wearable right now is the fact that it only works for Samsung Galaxy devices, and there's no iOS support at all. I know a lot of iOS consumers really want the iWatch to come out and would just like to be able to enjoy a wearable, and right now only Fitbit and Pebble kind of fill that space. So I think if Samsung allowed all Android devices to be able to optimize their wearables, or even on a very slight occasion allow the iOS users to actually use this device, I think sales would go up immensely. Also, there's many applications that can be used with this, and one of my favorites is Watch On, and this is one of the things I think wearables are good for. So basically you can control your TV via a smartwatch. That's pretty much what it is, and it really optimizes the IR blaster. There are many TVs that are supported, so it's not just Samsung TVs. There's LG TVs and things along those those lines. And another big thing on this watch is health, and that's something Samsung is doing on all their devices, and that's the reason why there is a heart rate monitor. It can track various exercises, and it can actually tell you your heart rate, which I found to be quite accurate for being just a device that you slap on your wrist. I thought it would be inaccurate because it's not just a heart rate monitor, and I've kind of built myself to the notion of it doesn't just do one thing, it probably is flawed. But surprisingly, the heart rate monitor found in the S5 and on all of Samsung's wearables are pretty dead on. And another thing you can do on here is there's obviously a calculator, a dialer, a stopwatch, just things that accent the smartphone nicely. You can download more applications on the Gear Manager found on your Samsung Galaxy device. One of the coolest things with wearables is the fact that you are notified when a brand new notification does come in. So you can answer phone calls from your Gear 2 Neo, respond to text messages with preset templates, but one of the biggest downsides is just most notifications just end up acting as a pager on the Gear 2 Neo and just require you to look at your Samsung Galaxy device to figure out what notification it was. So overall, the software works really well without any glitching, and I'm a big fan of the Gear Manager companion app as it's very simple to use and allows you to quickly change your gear settings, such as changing the notification settings, because sometimes you don't want to be bothered with specific notifications. And finally here, the S Health app, which is found on your Samsung Galaxy device, is very simple to use and really relays back to the Samsung Gear 2 Neo, and that's just one of the things I think Samsung is doing different with their wearables, is actually tying in the fitness integration. And again, that's one of the biggest things we can see from Samsung wearables and devices in 2014. So overall, I'm a big fan of the software, and I think most of you consumers are going to enjoy it as well. Up next is battery life here, and the Gear 2 Neo does feature a 300 mAh battery, and throughout my 2 weeks worth of testing, I was able to receive around 2 to 3 days on a single charge. This is obviously going to depend on how much you're using your Gear 2 Neo, how much the display is on, and how many notifications are being pushed to your Samsung Galaxy device. So the only gripe I really have with wearables as a whole, and the Samsung Gear 2 Neo does fall into this category, is battery size. Batteries are very small in the smartwatch. I understand that you do need to put it on your body, and it's something that's not supposed to be intrusive, and I think that really does reflect in the design of the Gear 2 and Gear 2 Neo. But a higher capacity battery really does need to be implemented to give consumers who don't really want to charge their smartwatch every single 2 to 3 days a much more pleasurable experience. So if there's one thing I had to tell Samsung to improve on, it's the battery size, because charging your smartwatch every 2 to 3 days can become quite cumbersome. Transitioning on to my favorite category, it's the new features. So starting off, it's the heart rate monitor on the Gear 2 Neo, and it's probably one of the biggest things that I do enjoy in this. It can be somewhat inconsistent, but for the most part, I found it to be pretty accurate with the Samsung Galaxy S5 that I always carry around in my pocket. So that's kind of cool that they're incorporating much more health mechanisms than ever really before on any device. So I really do like that on the Gear 2 Neo. Up next is the IR Blaster, and it works very well with just any TV out there. It works with a lot of other different TVs, and that's kind of a plus to Samsung because they like to typically control the market share and make you buy everything Samsung to just be able to use Samsung's products. And just changing the channels just at the flick of a wrist was kind of nice, and it's just one of those things I wish other smartwatches out there like the Pebble Steel would incorporate if it did have IR Blaster technology. The interchangeable bands is also a cool thing because you can customize your look very easily, and I think it's one of those things the Galaxy Gear really did lack, and I think a lot of people are truly going to enjoy the customizability of the Gear 2 Neo. Moving on here, it's IP67 certification, and I'm very happy the device does feature this because you can actually let it just be a wearable versus a piece of technology on your wrist and having to take it off when you wash your hands, go take a shower, go swimming. It's just one of those things that's just adaptable, and it really adapts to your life very nicely. And the watch does feel much more durable, and we can thank the hardware for that, so you don't really have to worry too much that your device is going to break or get water damaged very easily. Finally, it's Samsung's Tizen. It's a huge step up from Android OS found in the Galaxy Gear, and one of the big things that I truly do love is the fact that you don't get a random Android pop-up window anymore, which was very annoying, and it's just very snappy, easy to use, and I think the Tizen OS really complements Samsung's wearables and the Gear 2 Neo very nicely. So overall, I definitely recommend the Gear 2 Neo. It's one of the watches that I am a big fan of, and I think Samsung has changed for the better. It's still a bit large for me. A 1.63-inch display is kind of pushing it in terms of just being able to slap it on my wrist, and I'm definitely into the Pebble Steel and the Gear Fit for their size and just their different type of quirks that they do offer. The Gear 2 Neo is priced at $199 and is available in charcoal black, mocha brown, and wild orange, and bands will be out later this year. And the one big gripe I really have about this is the fact that there's no iOS integration, and that's going to be a deal breaker for many consumers wanting that versatility that is found in a Fitbit or in the original Pebble or Pebble Steel. So hopefully later down the line, Samsung might consider making it available for all Android devices versus just the 17 Galaxy devices, and potentially opening it up to iOS users features, which would really make me happy and a lot others as well. So overall, I think the Gear 2 Neo is a nice watch that you can just slap on your wrist and go. I really like the IP67 certification, and I know most of you guys will as well. Thank you guys so much for watching this unboxing and review of the Samsung Gear 2 Neo. If you guys enjoyed this video, go ahead and throw me a like down below, as it lets me know you guys want more wearable coverage like this. And also drop me a comment down below letting me know if you guys are going to pick up the Samsung Gear 2 or the Gear 2 Neo, or just another wearable out there out on the market right now. Finally, go and subscribe to the channel to be notified when a brand new giveaway or video covering wearables is released, because trust me guys, we got a lot more coming in 2014 because this is the year of wearables. Thank you guys once again, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video.